from every adventure, in fact, or a hike starts from what is known as the base camp. Okay. For those of you who've done hiking would know that base camp is where you assemble, where you get ready and you start your journey. So is corporate life. So you guys are at a base camp. And any guesses what that base camp is? Can anyone answer and tell me what is the base camp that you guys are at?
The college life.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Spot on. So this is your base camp, your college. Okay. So now your adventure has started. You are at base camp. Now, as you are in base camp, there are certain things that you will be required to do, certain things that you will be required to learn, because it is at this place that you start your journey. And once you are on the journey of corporate life, whatever you pick up from here is what you will take along. If you leave out something from here, you probably may not have a chance to pick it up on the way. Yes, of course, there are certain things that you can do on the way, but mostly this is the foundation. Ask any hiker, ask any mountain climber who's climbed Everest, how important it is to be at the base camp and to do the right things at the base camp. So I'm sure all of you would be getting ready, planning what you need to do. So at base camp, there are two things which I believe are important. First are the skills that you acquire. Now that you are in business education, whether it is BCom or BBA, there are certain skills that you will be required to learn, and your professors will do an amazing job to provide you those. So the skills would be presentation skills, communication skills, analytics, understanding of the business environment, economics, so on and so forth. So those are all the skills that you will be acquiring at the base camp, and take wholesome advantage of that. Immerse yourself into that. It's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy, but give yourself time, give yourself space, put your 100% into it, and you will acquire the skills. Along with skills, there's another thing that is very important. And in my view, actually, this is more important than the skills. Skills can still be acquired over a period of time. What you will probably find difficult to develop is attitude. And what essentially is attitude? It could be a definition that you have. It could be some very bookish thought process as well. But in my view, there's certain things. One is commitment to your cause. Whatever is the mission on your hands, you do it with the right attitude. There is a certain positive approach that you adopt. So at base camp, these are the two things that are going to be of vital importance as you develop: skills and attitude. If you have these two things in your bag, you're ready for the climb. Moving on, there are some perspectives that I'd like to share with you from my life. And I'll tell you what those are. First perspective is, as you get into the corporate life, is the perspective on making choices. Second is learning. What exactly is it about? Salaries and designations. I'm sure this is something of most of interest to all of you. Then failures. Then a perspective on carrying your life jacket. I'll explain what that is. Then, of course, reliving the good days. So let's start from the very beginning. Assume that you have finished your planning and your preparation at base camp, and now you are ready for the climb. So you're going to get various options of companies to join. So which company should you join? What is it that you should be thinking? So choosing the right company is like choosing a cricket format that fits you best. In my view, there are just two cricket formats, and they are the same in the corporate world. One is the T20 format, another is the Test cricket format. So what exactly is the T20 format? So the T20 format is what I call the startups. The startups are where you get high returns. You join a startup today, maybe in 3 years' time it gets acquired by another company. It can become $1 million unicorn within years. And that's what is the fun of being in a startup, the high return game. Of course, the high return also demands a certain bit of attitude and skilling, which is rapid skilling. If you're in a startup, you'll be required to take on different roles, not just one role. And they, of course, will be a lot of flexibility. So you can work, say, in finance today, then you can move into business development or sales or technology. Because in a startup, things move very fast and you are required to adapt. So that is the fun of being in a startup, right? So that is the one kind of a career choice. The second, of course, is the more, I would say, established process, which is the established company's route, wherein the returns will take time. It is like test cricket. So those of us who have seen Cheteshwar Pujara bat maybe today or in the past, he scores 10 runs off 50 balls. Somebody from the outside might argue and say, he's too slow, but actually he's building his innings. So that's what established work in an established company is all about. You take the time, you take the steps, you build your skills over a period of time. That is the fun of being in an established company. It is not something which is very fast, but it is over a period of time. Now, when I present these options to you, I'm nowhere saying that A option is better or B option is better. It is something that you have to internalize. You have to think. It is your career, but you have to just be aware that every choice you take has certain pros and certain cons. So you just have to be aware. What do you want to be? Do you want to be like an MS Dhoni, who is a hard hitter, but may not have the textbook kind of batting style? Or do you want to be like a Cheteshwar Pujara, who goes slowly into the innings, keeps building it, keeps building his skills, and over a period of time, he has scored hundreds or double hundreds. So the idea is just to give you a perspective that when you get ready to take a plunge into the corporate world, think about what will fit you best. That is the most important thing. You have to choose what fits you best. Of course, even if whatever you try, you may make mistakes, but that's life. That's how it happens. Now, moving on, let's talk about learning. Now, you already are at base camp and you are going to be immersed in learning. Now, we tend to think that college life gave us the learning. Now I'm in the corporate. Do I have to now learn anything? I've learned everything now. I can just move on with life. I can just be in the corporate world, do what job that's given to me. Sadly, that's not an option today. Today, learning has no end date. It has got no expiry date. Whether it is the CEO of the company, whether it's a business head, whether it's an executive who's just joined, whether it is a basic banker, everybody, each one of us have to keep improving ourselves. And we have to keep pushing ourselves to finding the time, finding the space to invest in learning. Sometimes organizations will invest in you, which is great. And I think today most of the organizations do that. But don't forget that while they may be making the investment in the learning which may be of value to them, you have to think what is the learning which will add value to you. So develop that attitude early on of finding time to learn. And there's another reason why learning today is so important. We are in the era of digital disruption. Every single business as we know it in the past 20 years has been completely transformed, You would have heard so many examples. Kodak, maybe you guys are in the young generation, you did not know this company called Kodak, but if you ask your parents, Kodak was a huge brand. It was a huge filmmaking company. But that filmmaking company did not realize that over a period of time, there's going to be no need of films. Films are going to be replaced by digital cameras, by digital medium. So today, every single business has a risk of getting digitally disrupted. Now, if that business gets disrupted, obviously the employees are also going to face the disruption. So how do you keep up with all of this disruption? There's only one way to do it. Keep learning. Just never stop learning. Keep finding the time, whether it's joining online courses, whether it is taking the help of your professors, it is taking the help of your friends. Even over a period of time, you will realize that even your juniors may have things to offer that you have not learned about. So don't hesitate to learn. In technology, we face that all the time, that from 3GL to 4GL, the language changes. And what you learned yesterday is not required today. So you need to go back, and even sometimes to your juniors, and ask them, guys, what is new in the market? What are you guys learning? Never stop that. That's the most essential thing. And it's like a treadmill. You have to keep running on that. It's not something that treadmill is not going to stop. If you stop, you'll probably be left behind. So create that culture, create that learning. It's not to take stress about it, but just enjoy that learning. Now, can I just ask anybody, what are your thoughts on this? You think this is important? Designations and salaries?
Guys, you can unmute yourself and answer the question which is being put across.
Anyone if has any perspective on this, on designations and salaries, how important are they? Okay, never mind. Let's move on. So yes, everybody in the corporate world has aspirations, whether it is to have a good designation, a good salary, and all of us, and including me, I'm no different. I too strive for that. I want the next designation. I want to be the head of the business. I wanted to be the sales head. When I was in technology, I wanted to be a team lead, then a project manager, move on from there. Now, designations and the salaries from an aspirational standpoint are absolutely fine. That's what drives us, and we should definitely aspire for them. The only point is that they are not everything. You should just remember that these are just milestones that happen in your 40-year journey. They are not going to be everything. And remember that you'll probably not be able to control these as well. So don't get overtly stressed about it. These are realities of running a business, running a corporate, but you as a professional should not get overtly perturbed by them. You should just take them in your stride. And I'll give you an example. What happens with salaries is, just take an example that tomorrow you maybe say there's a person in your batch, or maybe let's take two people, one Ajay and one Vijay. Now Ajay gets a call from his project manager, and he's told that, Ajay, you are going to get a salary raise of 10%. And you are thrilled. You want to call your parents, you want to speak to your girlfriend and tell her that, we should go out for a dinner, celebrate. I've got a 10% increase, and I've also got a new designation. I may move to a new city. I'll be going to live in a nice city. I'm right now in Agra. I'm going to get a job in Mumbai. Amazing, right? Now suddenly what happens is that when Ajay is making all these plans, suddenly there's a call from Vijay, his batchmate, and he answers the call. And so Vijay asks him, Ajay, what's happening? And Ajay says that, I just got a great salary raise, and I'm just moving to another city. And he says, oh, wonderful. How much is your raise? He says, I got a raise of 10%. And Vijay says, 10%? Ah, that's nothing. I've got a 20% raise. And not only that, I'm even going abroad. My company is even paying me to go abroad. Can you believe that? Now imagine what has happened to Ajay. All his happiness has gone down the drain. Why? Because he has just ended up comparing himself with others. So in this game of designation and salaries, there is no end game. If you get too trapped into it, you are only going to get despair. So point is that don't compare yourself. Don't compare yourself with the other person. Just see it as something which is part of a process. It's only like a pit stop in a journey. It's in your journey from A to B. It is just one thing which will happen. And yes, the pleasure of having a designation or a great salary will stay with you for maybe a month or 6 months. But at the end of the day, what you should ask yourself is that, are you learning? Are you enhancing yourself as a professional? The other thing to bear in mind about designations and salaries is that try and be yourself. Be true to yourself. Now, what does that really mean? It actually means is that take time to look at yourself in the mirror. It means that reflect. Maybe he got a better salary because he actually had something different in him. He did learn some new skills. He had a different attitude, right? We generally tend to put the blame on others, saying, no, maybe there was some favoritism. There was, some nepotism, that kind of thing. We don't reflect and see that where we could have improved. If you can do that reflection, you'll find the answer. And in fact, you will also have a certain bit of contentment. You will tell yourself that, great, he may have a better designation, but I'm actually having a better life. I'm able to spend more time with my family, so on and so forth. So, point I would like to stress about designations and salaries is that they are part and parcel of corporate life. All of us are going to go through it. There is no fixed benchmark as to say that, okay, you from this years of experience, this is going to be a salary. No, it is very variable. It depends upon the industry. It depends upon the institute. It depends upon who you are as a person. There are a lot of people in corporate life. You'll see that they may not have been from great starting points, but they've gone ahead and delivered amazing results and made a name for themselves. So there's a lot of variability in it, and just that developing that attitude of, I would say, lack of attachment to a designation and a salary is something that I believe is key. I am not saying that I am not advocating or nowhere saying that I have been able to master that. No, but at the same time, it is just that one should have a realization that this will be a part of our life. Now, this is one word. Does this scare you? Is this a scary word? Can somebody answer? What do you think about this word? Anybody can answer.
Guys, you can write in the chat box also. In case you are not comfortable speaking, please write down your responses in the chat box.
Okay, never mind. We'll pick it up later because I'm not seeing the chat box. But okay, so failure. I think most of us are scared of this word, including me. None of us want to get into this situation. And believe you me, this is a word that we cannot escape. And it will even hunt us down in the corporate world. No decision that any corporate leader takes can be 100% foolproof, 100% perfect. There are any number of examples. Take the case of Ratan Tata's decision to launch Tata Nano. Now, somebody might say that this is a failure, but now it's a question of perspective. Now, let me tell you a story. How many of us know what this brand is? I'm sure all of us know this brand, right? This is Apple. Apple was founded by Steve Jobs. But how many of us know in 1985, Steve Jobs was forced out of Apple, out of the own company that he founded? He was kicked out. So was that failure? I think for 99% of us, that would have been failure. We would have been devastated. How can that happen to me? I made this company. I built this company. And today I've been asked to leave this company. That is unacceptable to me. But that's what happened to Steve Jobs. But what did Steve Jobs do with it is important, not what happened to him. He came out of Apple and went on to create Next, a next generation computer hardware company, which was far ahead of his time, which had software and hardware which no company could beat at that time. So he did not get bogged down by failure. He just turned it around to his advantage. He said in interviews that when he came out of Apple, the next phase for him was way more creative. And can you imagine that creativity led him to create a company which Apple bought later on. Thereafter, Steve Jobs went on to become an interim CEO and then back to being the CEO of Apple. And the rest, as we know, is history. Apple became the most valuable company in the world. Apple's products were world-class and he simply was invincible. So imagine what would have happened to him had he accepted that as a failure and resigned. He would have said, there's nothing I can do. I've done my best. I'm out now. I'm a failure. But he realized that the core of what he does is develop products. So it doesn't matter whether he's in an Apple or another company. He will continue to do what he's passionate about. He'll continue to do what he wants to do. And that's what took him to these heights. Now the next phase or next perspective about corporate life is the bumpy part, the bumpy ride. Now, corporate life is not easy. For anyone who's been there will tell you that corporate life can be very tough. You have peer pressure. You are in a team environment where you're asked to lead a team, but you find that people within your team are not motivated enough. You have to find ways to get them to be motivated. Even if they get motivated and the project is up, the project does not deliver the results that you desired. You sit down and reflect that I was doing my best. Even then I could not get what I wanted. What's wrong with this? It could happen if you are in a sales position. You spend your time pursuing a deal, a multi-million-dollar deal. You have made a wonderful presentation. The company has liked your commercial quote, but somehow, for some reason, you lose the deal. Now, these are going to be aspects of corporate life which none of us can avoid. It is going to be something that all of us will have to accept, that corporate life is a bumpy ride. It is just like being in a raft, just with a paddle, with the turbulent water around you. The idea is, how do you manage this? There are several ways to do that. Of course, the way I believe is you have to have your life jacket on. You have to carry a life jacket with you. The life jacket is not a physical life jacket. It is not something that is made out of rubber. It is not what this kid is wearing. It's actually your hobbies and your pastimes. So whatever are your areas of interest, don't lose sight of them. Corporate life will carry on, but don't lose sight of it. Don't lose that inclination to have a pastime. It may be anything. It may be something like cooking. You're fond of cooking. Continue with that. Even if there are difficult stages in your corporate life, don't push it to the back burner and say that no, my corporate life is so difficult and I'm so exhausted. I just can't do it. I'll let go of this passion. I'll do it when I retire. I'll do it when I'm 30 years down in the job, when I'm stable, when my family is settled. That'll never happen. That'll never happen. This is an important aspect that one has to be able to balance corporate life with your, let's say, your normal life. I will tell you my own story, that at one stage of my life, I was a workaholic. I loved filling my entire time with work. I would come home, I could sit down and make presentations. I would be ready in the meeting on the Monday morning, and I could do that week after week. When I was managing projects, I could get teams ready, get them to deliver results, keep them motivated, do the planning. And I was happy to see life being engulfed with work. And I felt proud of it at some stage that, great, see how hardworking I am. But I realized over a period of time that may sound good in the short term, but that's really not a good long-term strategy. The good long-term strategy is to be good at managing time and finding time for the things that you like. It could be something like joining an NGO, helping do something for the environment, doing something for the country. And even if you can't find anything of interest, maybe it is just time that you want to spend with your parents. Can you imagine a life where we have spent it completely in our corporate life, made money, traveled the world, but have we spent time with our elder parents? Probably not. I don't think that is a complete life. So find time for the things that matter. They may not give you any financial benefit, but they'll give you something which is far more than that, which is satisfaction and contentment. So look at options and ways to manage your time. And I'll tell you, your professors at the institute will guide you in that. They will be there to coach you and to explain to you. In fact, this entire process at Basecamp, a lot of it is going to be about time management. There is a festival which is going to happen, but at the same time, there's a session or an assignment given to you which needs to be delivered at 12 o'clock at night. How do you manage that? That's time management, prioritization. And that will eventually help you balance your corporate life with your personal life. Now, we're coming, I would say, not to the fag end, but to close to the end. And here I would like to bring out an aspect for you to consider, which is that picture yourself 25, 30 years down the line. You have achieved your corporate goals. You have made the money that you aspire to. You got all the comforts that you desired, a car, a good house, etc. But in that journey, if you did not spend that with your friends, would that really be worth it? Would that be something that you would be proud of? Probably not. So in your corporate journey, do also find time to stay connected with the people with whom you started your journey. Reason being that they are the only people in your life who were there during the days of your struggle, who really know that the real people that you were before you went up the climb. They are the people who will keep you grounded. They are the people who will keep you motivated when the chips are down. So don't forget those people in that journey. We tend to compete, which is fine. When we are in our college days, competition is an important part of the entire experience of college life. There are going to be toppers. There are going to be some people who are going to be at the bottom. That's fine. That's part of the process. But don't forget the fact that those bonds that you have established in those days are like gold. If you let go of them, if you abandon them, you will actually realize that as a person, while you may have become very, I would say, successful, you may have missed out on certain things like being humble, being more forgiving of even your own situations. And you may become very, very, I would say, hard on yourself if you don't have that aspect, the softer aspect of your life, and which comes when you interact with people with whom you started your journey. Because it's important that as leaders, as executives, as you grow, that we learn the value of humility. Eventually, the success in a corporate life is never individual. It is always contributions of teams. It is always people who come together to deliver value. It is seldom that people are independently making wins. That doesn't happen. Yes, you may be a good performer, but that good performance also requires the support of people around you. Without that, it's not going to happen. So keep that in mind as you go on your climb. Find time to meet your friends over tea, over a couple of beers, whatever is your preference. Keep in touch. Today, thanks to the digital medium, we have everything at our disposal. So whether it's a Facebook or an Instagram, we are connected. Though my preference, of course, would be to have more in-person meetings. Try and do that because once you get into corporate life, things will move very fast. Years will just go by and you'll keep asking yourselves, maybe I'll do this later. Time may never come. So go back, keep finding time to connect with your friends. And you'll also realize that when you revisit the college days with your friends, maybe 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, you'll have a very different perspective to that. You'll realize that what you learned in college, you never realized how important it was. Such is life, right? One of my professors at IIM Lucknow used to say that education is a very strange kind of profession or a very strange kind of experience, because a student comes into the college with his own money and with his own will, but it is the teachers who have to make him study. So which is a dichotomous situation. It is that the teachers have to get after him to study while he came to that institution with his own will. But that is college life. We never understand the value of the education when we are there in it. We always think that, oh, great, it's okay. I can bunk a few classes here and there. That's fine. But yes, once or twice one should do that as well. I do not know how Nishant will take that. But at the same time, one should not forget that those college days have a lot of learnings in them. And when you revisit them after years, there'll be a very different perspective to them. And in fact, that is what triggered me to write about my college life. And so I did my engineering from Kurukshetra University. And I felt that somehow that I had lost touch with my friends. I had forgotten the stories from my college days. And I went on to write this book, Rewind and Play, which is really to go back to those days, those memories, and connect with my friends. In fact, I must also narrate to you that there was a college get-together that was being planned, and I was very busy. I was in the middle of a deal, and I could not travel. And my friends, they kept calling me. They were saying that, Arun, it will be nice if you could join. We are going to Goa. And I wanted to go, but somehow I just didn't have the time. But then I decided so they were there a few days before me. I decided on Friday night that even if it is for one day, I will make the time to meet my friends. And I had printed some t-shirts for my book at that time. So I hesitantly told my wife that, I'm just going to Goa. And I just woke her up from her sleep and told her this. She probably was so confused. She did not understand what I'm saying, but she just nodded her head. And I just packed my bags and landed up in Goa. It was just for one day. But let me tell you that was the best trip that I had. We were there in Goa, all friends, after about 20 years, reliving our college days and realizing that so much time had passed, but we had not got a chance to connect. So friends, I would like you to consider that as a learning, which I would like to share, and keep that in your mind that the journeys are fine, the destinations are fine, but it's more important how you live that. I actually would want to hear your stories. So even if you are now in your course, I would be happy to hear about them. So connect with me on Facebook, Insta, Twitter, YouTube, whatever, or send me an email. I would love to know how has been your journey, how has been your college life. What is it that you learned? What were the challenges that you faced? What is it that you could have done differently? All of those. It'll be my absolute pleasure to stay connected with you. With this, I'd like to move on to a Q&A. And Nishant, I'm happy to answer questions.
Yes, sir, absolutely. You took me also back to my college days. Such a nostalgic moment. Yeah. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the session, and sir had given some great insights. You should also enjoy your college life, but then there are certain limits which should not be crossed, and there are certain boundaries which you need to draw yourself. So academics, extracurricular, curricular, friendship, everything has to go hand in hand. That's what Tarun sir has also mentioned. And you need to grab all the opportunities in the college which comes your way. So now we are open to Q&A. Anyone has any questions? So we have students from journalism, mass communication, BCom and BB as well. Anyone has any question related to your career, corporate life, startups, or anything else, please feel free to ask.
Thanks, Nisha.
Yeah. Guys, come on. You can probably write in the chat box. I can narrate the question to sir.
I think I hope my session was not so boring that all of you went off to sleep.
Actually, these guys have back-to-back classes from Monday to Saturday, so therefore, yeah.
I think maybe so. I really appreciate you finding time, guys, on a Saturday. I know, like Sir said, that you guys are busy. You have back-to-back classes, but I think it's been a pleasure for me to interact with you. And I also see that there are some comments which came in. Let me just read them out. So. Rupali said that no, that is not a failure. There's a point he found an opportunity. So yes, absolutely right. I agree. Abhinav Gautam had something to say. I think depression is something that he brought out. I didn't get that point. Abhinav, can you just elaborate on that, please? Abhinav, am I audible? Okay, maybe my voice is not reaching him.
No, I guess he would have written that when you would have asked about the failure, is it scary or not? So therefore, he would have answered it. Yeah.
Okay, great. So now I've just got some messages coming in. So Abhinav, if you can hear me, you wrote about depression. What was it? Is that something that you faced, or any thoughts on that? Should I unmute him?
Abhinav, you can unmute yourself and ask the question.
Okay. Let's see. So Abhinav probably is talking about his own depression, and yeah. Now that's also something. See, that's also something normal, and I would say that the acceptance of any problem in itself is the starting point of the solution. For anyone to accept that one has a problem or is going through a certain phase of one's life, it is the starting point. A lot of us live in denial. We deny the fact that we are facing such issues. But I think the idea is to be open about these challenges in one's life, in one's corporate life, and then address the issues. Okay, I think Mahima has something. Okay, so Mahima is really asking that failure is basically the first step towards success, and she wants to understand more about it. See, failure in itself is a perspective. It is a incident that happens, and it is for us to have the perspective whether it is a failure or a success or a stepping stone. Now, yes, in the short term, it is definitely going to come across as a failure, no doubt about it. If I fail tomorrow in an exam, it's not going to be a positive for me that very moment. I can't just wish away it. I can't think that there is a positive to it. But the idea is, instead of having a reaction to it, it is to have a mature response. And that mature response is really a starting point of the improvement. If you have a reaction to that, then you most likely will take it negatively and go down. But the idea is when you face failure, think through it, spend some time with yourself, and most likely you will find the answers. I think Abhinav is finding a problem unmuting himself. Yeah, thank you, Mahima. Good that you were able to understand the answer.
Anyone else has any question?
Okay, I guess what we should do, Nishant, you have my email address.
Yeah, I have. Yeah,
I have my shared my coordinates on social media. Let's keep it open. I would love that one, people give me feedback on the book. Second, of course, is as somebody who's been in management for some time, I'm happy to offer any advice that the students may have now or during the course as they continue. So love to have this dialogue open, and I love to keep in touch with these young minds, and I wish them all the best for the course and for their corporate careers.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, sir. We'll try to get the students connected to you through social media and digital media. So guys, in case you come across any question, once the session gets over, even after, you can possibly connect me, you can share your questions, and I can possibly further connect you to Mr. Tarun down the line. Yeah, so we'll stay in touch, and thank you library team also for organizing this session on behalf of Prashant Kumar Memorial Library at Lingayas Lalita Dev Institute of Management and Sciences. Thank you, Tarun sir, once again for sparing so much of your precious time on a Saturday afternoon.
Thank you, Nishant. Thank you. I just want to end with a 2-3 minutes message.
Yeah, please.
One particular aspect I'd like to cover, and thank you, Nishant, for mentioning the name of the library.
Yeah,
I think the reading habit is something which has gone through a lot of change in today's times. Thanks to our dwindling attention span. Today they say that our attention span has become less than that of a goldfish. Even for 8 seconds, we cannot hold our attention. And that's thanks to overexposure to, I'd say, phones, to television, to, content, etc. So in this particular era where we are, so stressed for our attention, and which is, by the way, the most important asset we have, it is important that all of us find some time to read. Because reading, when you do that, and it could be a motivational book, it could be something related to your skill, it gives you the focus to concentrate your attention, and that is going to be important as you go along. So I mean, मैं इसको जितना emphasize करूँ शायद कम है, but अपनी life में reading की habit जरूर बनाइएगा, and that does not mean that only during college days. Even once you pass out from college, make that an essential part of your habit to just read, and develop that as you go along, because you'll realize that there is so much which is pulling you in different directions that you need something to bring you down and bring you at a certain space, and there's nothing better than books. The way the books can be your friend, believe you me, nothing can beat them. So with this note, I hope you guys visit your library, read books, and Nishant, absolute pleasure interacting with your bag and with yourself. Thank you.
Same here, sir. Same here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Guys, thank you so much for being such a patient and a nice audience. We'll come back to you with another series of session, most likely on the next Saturday. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a lovely weekend. Thank you. Take care.